Have you ever walked away from a conversation or been driving home and thought, oh man, I should have stood up for myself, or I should have said what I was really thinking? Or worse still, you couldn't think of anything in the moment, but you realize what you should have said afterwards. It's a scientific fact that once you get engaged, maybe second only to when you get pregnant, that you'll be on the receiving end of more uncomfortable, dare I say, stupid questions than you've ever been asked in your entire life. That can be private or quite simply no one else's fucking business. So today I'm here to share with you the options available, from the high road, classy replies that neutralise the conversation so you can change the topic, or if you've got nothing to lose, the sassy, spicy, sarcastic retorts that, for sure, burn bridges, but also let people know that you ain't playing. And at the end of the episode, I'll also be sharing some all-rounder replies that work for pretty much anything, responses that let you stay cool, calm, collected, and come out of it smelling like roses, no matter what's been thrown your way. So if you're ready to tackle those intrusive wedding questions with either class or sass, let's get stuck into it. Unbridely is a community of pro-wedding vendors who believe in freedom and integrity in weddings, giving you options, solutions, tips and tricks to create the experience and memories that you and your fiancé really want and deserve. Because we believe that weddings are a team sport. With how-tos, stories and interviews with recently married couples, we find out what went right and what they'd change if they could go back and do it all over again. I'm Camille, and welcome to the Unbridely podcast. Today I'm diving into a topic that every engaged couple will encounter at some point: those stupid questions people love to ask about your wedding. But here's the thing. Not all questions and or people asking the questions are created equal. Some people will be coming from a genuine place, like, I'm so excited for you and I want to show you that and I want to share in your happiness. These people are truly interested in you and your wedding day and want to celebrate your joy. They're not the ones digging, prying, or trying to stir up drama. And yet, while their intentions are good, they can still ask what you consider to be stupid questions. I'll go further into that in just a moment. Then you have the other type of questions, the ones dripping with insecurity, like, how much is your wedding going to cost? You can just feel the judgment lurking behind that question. They want to size up your day, weigh it against some invisible scale and feel better about their own lives based on how much money you're planning on spending or not. Because you shouldn't forget about the judgment from some people about how little you're spending, that you're being cheap. That's fun too. And let's not forget the third group, the ones who just love to stir the pot. You know the type. They thrive on chaos and drama, and your wedding is like the perfect playground for them. But the first thing I want to say is that not every question is stupid, personal, or unsolicited. Sometimes people are just plain awkward, or they don't know what else to ask, especially if they haven't seen you in a while. And this is why it's super important to understand the intent behind the question. Is it coming from a place of love and excitement, or is there something else at play here? You need to consider how the question is asked, so the history or the past context you have with the person, and whether they're just a little socially awkward, or whether they're actually trying to catch you off guard to make themselves feel superior or ruffle your feathers for their own amusement. Once you understand the intent, how they mean to make you feel, you can decide whether it's worth your time and energy to engage. Should you just brush it off with something classy and move on with your day? Or, if they're really crossing a line, is it time to get a little spicy and give them a response they won't ever forget? As I was preparing for this episode, I had a look at a few different forums and wedding chat groups because I just wanted to see what engaged couples are being asked right now and how they thought about it and their perspective. Because while it's one thing for me to say, hey, you should do this, it helps if there's some real world application. There was one post from a future bride who shared that she had, I can't remember if it was a friend or family member, but they asked her this question, and she was only engaged for a week. And she asked, will you be changing your last name? Now, when she put the post in the forum, she said that she felt that it was intrusive to ask. And this is because the bride and her future spouse, they hadn't even talked about it yet. I mean, they talked about lots of things and they talked about the future and kids, but they hadn't talked about whether or not it was good for them, their relationship, their marriage, about her last name after they got married. So the friend or family member who asked her about the change of name, why does it matter and who cares? Like, how does this come from a place of love and care and excitement? It might have come from a place of judging. It might come from someone who's very traditional and might think that you're a better person or more traditional if you change your last name after you get married. But it's really hard to understand the intent of this question. Anyway, the bottom line was the bride felt cornered, and she responded after she put her original post up because a lot of people said this is not an intrusive question. This is not a difficult question. It's either yes, no, or we haven't decided. And they pushed back on the bride. And she conceded, no, I guess it's not intrusive because it's something that will be publicly known once we decide, what my last name is going to be. But it could be a sensitive point. I mean, no one really knows. No one knows whether they've had private chats behind the scenes, and it could be a point of contention, or there could be friction around that, whether potentially the future husband has gone, look, you take my last name, and she's gone, look, I really don't want to. Like, you just don't know. And it's actually no one else's business. So I just found that question really curious. I mean, it's not a stupid question. And even though it's not inherently an intrusive question, it was a private question that made the bride uncomfortable in that moment 1 week after she got engaged. So it's really hard because people don't know what's private and what's not. And yet people are going to ask you stuff anyway. And that's why I wanted to start this episode by saying, first of all, when you get a question, any question, where is this person coming from? Do they have your best interests at heart, or are they there with the popcorn, just waiting for things to blow up and have a laugh? Or are they just like some of my family who can't help but ask questions because they love being in everyone else's business and they can't shut up, which absolutely drives me fucking nuts. So you've got to know where the question is coming from. And so let's get down to it. Here are 14 stupid questions. Either they're unnecessary, private, sensitive, personal, or potentially embarrassing that engaged couples are asked, and they're classy and then spicy comebacks. Question number 1, and I think it pretty much tops it all. When are you going to have kids? When will people learn to stop asking that? So I think the classy comeback when you're asked this sort of question is, we're focused on enjoying this stage of our lives right now, but we'll let you know if and when there is any news to share. And if you don't care to have a relationship with this person anymore, if you're really telling someone to fuck off, you could say, I don't know, maybe never. Until then, you should probably stop asking me. Or something like, what answer could I give you so that you'll stop asking? Question number 2, how much will your wedding cost? A classy comeback would be, we haven't decided on a budget yet. Simple, pushes back. It might be factual, it might not. You don't need to discuss it with anybody. The sassy retort is, it's enough that we'll have an amazing celebration, but not enough to invite you. Full stop, drop the microphone, walk away. Did you know that most newlyweds spend up to 8 hours of their precious time working through changing their last name after they get married? This is where easy name change comes in. Their kits provide you with a sort of shopping list of businesses, companies and government departments where you simply pick which ones you need to notify. They then send you detailed instructions on how to go about the name change process because every business is different, and this saves you hours of calling around, waiting on hold, sending emails, waiting for a response, and then remembering to follow up when you don't hear back from them. Easy name change kits also provide ready-to-send forms, letters and emails, so you just attach your marriage certificate to them and you're done. Starting at $39, the value and time you get back is a no-brainer. For more help on changing your name after you get married, there is an excellent blog post on the Unbridely website, and I'll put a link in the show notes for you. Plus, Unbridely podcast listeners get a $6 discount on their name change kits by using the code Unbridely6. That's UNBRIDELY 6, the number 6, and this is valid until the end of 2025. Get your easy name change kit so you can move on to the fun parts of being grown-ups together, like holidays, getting a dog, building a house, herb gardens. Stupid question number 3, why aren't you inviting your mum, your auntie, that friend from work? Everyone seems to want to know what you're doing and why. The why is possibly the hardest part. So a classy comeback would be, we've had to make some tough decisions with our guest list to keep within our means, but we hope everyone understands it wasn't personal. And a spicy reply could be, because we wanted our wedding to be enjoyable. Question number 4, why aren't you getting married in a, insert here, church, temple, mosque, synagogue, you name it, basically insinuating that wherever you're getting married is not traditional enough or not what's expected. And so a classy way to respond would be, we've chosen a location that feels really meaningful to us and we can't wait to share it with everyone. It says, we've considered everything. This is what works for us. Full stop. But if you're feeling a little sassy, you could say something like, oh, we thought about it, but our venue comes with air conditioning and cocktails. Priorities, right? Or something like, we're just following the golden rule. Thou shalt not let guests starve while waiting for the bar to open. Stupid question number 5, can't you just elope and save the money? Oh, we didn't think of that. The classy way to respond would be something along the lines of, we've thought about all of our options, but we really love the idea of celebrating this special moment with the people we care about. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience for us. And this response means that you're calm, you're polite, you emphasize the value to you without having to be defensive about it. But the spicy clapback? Sure, we could elope and save money, but then how would we show off how much better our taste is than yours? Question number 6, why aren't you doing a bouquet/garter toss or not seeing each other before the ceremony or having all your bridesmaids' dresses match? The classy way to respond to that would be, while we appreciate tradition and all the different ways weddings can be celebrated, we're creating a day that feels personal to us. And that can be used for so many things. We get all the options. We appreciate tradition and custom, but we're doing it our way. It feels great. We're happy with it. Bye-bye. Sassy reply to that would be, because it's 2025 and we'll do what we want. Stupid question number 7 is, can I bring a +1? Now, I will never understand why people ask. If it's not on your invitation, you don't have a +1. But the classy way of replying would be, we're trying to keep the guest list as intimate as possible, so we aren't able to offer +1s at this time. That also hints at the fact that should you have guests who RSVP know that there might be openings, that there's a potential there that you'll keep them in mind, but it makes no promises. And if you want to burn your bridges, when they ask, can I bring a +1? You could say, sure, only if you can prove they're not imaginary. And then watch them walk away and never talk to you again. Question number 8, are you sure you're ready for marriage? I don't know why people think that just because they question you, whether or not your relationship's, I don't know, solid enough or whatever it might be, that you're going to go, oh, you're right. Yeah, I'm not ready for marriage. Thank God you asked me. And you'll head back and return the ring. Anyway, are you sure you're ready for marriage? You could take the high road here with something like, we've talked and prepared for this next step, and we're confident we can work through any challenges together. I think it honestly gives people too much information. So I'd lean more towards we wouldn't be here if we didn't believe we're ready for the next chapter together. Because seriously, it's no one's business but your own. But if you really wanted to tell the person to stay out of it, when someone says, "Are you sure you're ready for marriage?" you could say, "As sure as you won't be invited to our wedding." Stupid question number 9. Why aren't you inviting kids/children to your wedding? The classy way to tell them what's going on is, we want to give everyone a chance to relax and enjoy the celebration without distractions. We hope you understand. And if you don't need to be nice, because we don't want sticky fingers and tantrums, and that's just from the adults. Question 10, do you really think, insert partner's name, I don't know, Sebastian, do you really think Sebastian is the one? The nice way to respond is, we're so excited to be spending our lives together and we can't wait to celebrate with the people who really care about us. Sarcastic reply, do you really think Sebastian is the one? No, I thought getting married and then divorced would be a fun way to spend my time and money. Or maybe, well, I'm certainly not waiting around for someone better to show up. Question 11, why are you having such a small or large wedding? I don't know why it offends so many people, but it seems pretty equal in both ways. If you have a small wedding, people want to know why. If you're having a big wedding, people want to know why. And so a neutral way to reply would be, we're doing what feels best for us and what works for our families. The stay out of it response is to keep people like you from asking ridiculous questions. Obviously, it didn't work. Question 12, why aren't you doing the wedding yourself instead of hiring a planner or stylist? The classy comeback is, we really want to enjoy the day without the stress, and having professionals help us out will make that possible. The savage comeback is because I actually want it to look good, unlike some weddings I've seen. Question 13, can I make a speech at your wedding? The nice way to respond, we've already arranged who'll be speaking, but thank you so much for offering. The over my dead body reply, sure, if you can do it from the parking lot where you'll be watching from. And question 14, why are you getting married so soon, or why are you having such a long engagement? Again, I don't know why it's so fascinating. The nice way to answer is, it's the perfect timing for us. We're really happy with the way things are unfolding. The equally ridiculous reply to this ridiculous question would be, we're almost out of cute couple photos to post and we need fresh content. Or, why have you got such a long engagement? Wedding budgeting is all about timing and avocado prices, apparently. Subtext, fuck off. And as promised, here are some all-rounder replies to pretty much any wedding questions that you don't want to answer. My favourite is, we want it to be a surprise. Or, if you're going for the diplomatic route, we haven't discussed it yet. Because a lot of people, I don't want to be ageist, but certainly of a generation who have perhaps more traditional values around weddings and marriage, they believe that the bride is making all these decisions on her own, even if there's not a bride in this particular wedding. So it can be really good to remind them that actually most weddings these days, it's a bit of a team effort. So it's, we haven't discussed it yet. And just for some fun, the next time you receive some unsolicited advice, thanks. I'll keep that in mind for my next wedding. So what have you been asked? What did you say? I'd love to know. Please give me your worst. Send the horrible questions that you've been asked and your response, of course. You can DM me on Instagram @unbridely, or you can send me an email, hello@unbridely.com. And yeah, because I'd love to share some of these because it just gets crazy. And try to keep positive. Try to stay above all the drama queens out there who are just trying to pull you down. And I'll chat to you again next week. That about wraps it up for this episode of the Unbridely podcast. For the links and resources we mentioned, please head to the show notes. And if you love the show, please review and subscribe on the podcast platform you're on now so you don't miss out on a single episode. Thanks so much for listening. And remember, weddings are a team sport. Catch you soon.